Hi guys, Shane here, Aus Flight Simmer. Welcome to another episode of Test Drive. In this episode, we are checking out the new Cessna 150 Commuter for X-Plane 11 by vFlyteAir. We're going to take it for a spin around the block and see, is it worth you spending your hard-earned cash picking up this Cessna? So stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of Test Drive, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you haven't seen one of these before, this is where we take a scenery, aircraft, utility, or even hardware in different types of flight simulators. We'll take it for a spin around the block and see, is it worth a value for money? Should you spend your hard-earned cash on these products? Now, the question of today's episode is, should you spend your hard-earned cash on another Cessna? That's right, I only asked this question a couple episodes back, but we have another one. We are checking out the Cessna 150 Commuter from vFlyteAir. Now, we're going to be putting it through its paces. We're going to do a few different things. We're going to check out how she looks on the outside. We're going to check out how she looks on the inside. We're going to check out how she taxis, how she takes off, how she lands, how she stalls, and also how does she do an engine out glide approach into the airport. That's right, we're going to chuck some emergencies in this puppy and see how she handles. So let's jump straight into the test drive and have a look at the exterior of the 150 Commuter. If you're not familiar with the Cessna 150, it is a two-seater tricycle gear general aviation airplane. It was designed for mainly flight training, touring, and personal use. The 150 is one of the most popularly produced civil airplanes ever, with about just under 24,000 aircraft produced. First flight was on September 12th, 1957. It was produced between 58 and 77, and you could find yourself one these days for around about 12,000 to 25,000 US for a decent condition 150. In my opinion, vFlyteAir have done an absolutely superb job when it's capturing what the 150 looks on the exterior. They have gone really above and beyond when it comes to detail, from 3D modeling, texture, sound. It is all there, and this thing looks sensational. The package comes with 14 different liveries, including black and white. Also, there is a paint kit available if you want to do your own, but the liveries are from all around the world. We're just only showcasing about 4 or 5 of them. PBR effects, as you can see by looking at the outside, and super high res textures, and within saying that, it works pretty well on the system. I don't really see any issues when it comes performance with all this detail of this aircraft. A guided interactive pre-flight walk-around is included if you want to make things real. Also, optional wheel paints. I've taken them off because this is how the aircraft looks down at my local. And also a tow bar feature, so you can pull it in and outside of your hangar. And as you can see the co-pilots. And if you notice, it's raining a little bit, so you do have rain effects on the windshield that you can see on the outside and also in the interior of the aircraft. Speaking of the interior, let's jump in. The 150 comes with this clipboard, which is basically a customized menu, and with some of the things you can do is add a co-pilot. You can hide the co-pilot when it's on the outside view. You can actually put reflections on the glass. You can use as a custom engine start. This thing makes it a bit more realistic. Things like panels, you can change between the Commuter and also the trainer panel. Shake effects, highly recommend having that on. That'll give you extra immersion. Putting the wheel pants on, we've got it off in this one, and even change your pilot gender for male to female. Obviously, you got your weight and balance down there too. Moving over to the second page of the clipboard comes with the engine procedures, such as the customized engine procedures, how to start the aircraft, how to prime the aircraft, and also what you do if you flood it like I did first time around. Walk around is also included, and also checklist. You've got things like before start checklist, you've got after start checklist, you've got taxi, you've got takeoff, you've got cruise, you've got landing. Everything is included. So if you want to do things by the book and you like checklist, they've got you covered. And also, last but not least, all the performance specifications for the aircraft, so when to put your flaps down and all that sort of stuff. So let's take a look at some of the other features including in the cockpit. As you can see, I'm putting some shades on here, so sunglasses available, which will change the shade of the aircraft for a sunny day. I'll remove the yoke and we will plug the headset in, so that will change the sound and give you the effect of if you had a headset on in the actual aircraft. So I've seen that before by A2A in Prepared, which is a nice touch. Popping the yoke back on. This aircraft is a commuter and also a trainer, so you can change your dash over to suit that. So that's in trainer mode, that is in commuter mode, which obviously has a autopilot down the bottom. So that's just a quick flick on the menu also. One of the cool things has the Avid tab menu, so you can use the iPad, which has access to your charts and all that sort of stuff. So that's a really cool nice touch as well. And if you want to be daring, you can check what's in the glove box, and there is a torch. And obviously the torch can help you navigate around the aircraft at night to get those engines started if you're going to do a IFR flight at night time. But for now, we'll put the torch back, and it's 6 minutes into the video, so we need to get these engines started and get on our way. So I'm going to be quiet now so you can listen to some of the 150 F-mod sounds while we start up the Cessna 150. That sounded pretty good for a startup. The F-mod sounds are by Mike Mars from Sim Acoustics, and they are immaculate. Very realistic in my opinion for a 150 Cessna startup. So we're going to let everything warm up, and then we're going to begin our taxi. Time to release the brakes and apply some throttle. We're going to make a left-hand turn here as we pull away from the self-service fuel. Today we are starting a flight at 703, that is Stark's Twin Oaks Airport, which is by Orbx in conjunction with the Oregon HD TrueEarth pack. So we're making a left-hand turn here. Taxiing the 150, in my opinion, is pretty accurate. Being a tricycle gear aircraft, obviously it's quite spongy on that main gear, but I'm using my virtual fly rudder pedals, and it does everything it should do. So obviously if we've got some windy conditions, it will move the aircraft around, and you need to keep it straight there. And also you need to apply a little bit of rudder just to keep it straight when you're taxiing, just as you need to do in real life. And that will come more apparent as we are taking off down the runway. But with been saying that, let's cut to a quick montage, and we'll come back to you shortly as we are ready to take off today.
Careful who you cross, careful who you test. Give me your worst and you'll get my best. 'Cause I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't.
So this is where the fun stuff starts to happen. We get to go flying. So we're going to pull out on a runway 02, and things I'm looking for is how the aircraft is going to behave as we're rolling out. Low speed, high speed, and how it's going to behave on rotation. So I'm going to be quiet now so you can enjoy the takeoff, but I'll come back and we'll discuss it once the wheels are up. There we go. So that was a slight crosswind takeoff. I believe it was 3 or 4 knots. So I didn't need to dip the aileron in anything for the takeoff. But within saying that, we applied the throttle to full throttle within 4 seconds, and you did have to apply some right rudder to keep the aircraft straight. And as it built up speed, you needed to keep applying more and more and more to keep running down the centerline. And that's how an aircraft should behave. It wasn't dancing around anything. We were able to keep it straight, which is really cool. And on a rotation, we had to apply a little bit of pressure for the aircraft to lift, so it didn't stick to the ground, and also it didn't just lift off like a butterfly. It was the right amount of pressure, in my opinion. So we are making a left-hand turn as we are on our crosswind, going to our downwind. We're going to gain some more altitude and then make a left and fly over the airport in a sort of teardrop circuit there, and we're going to make our way up to about 3,000 feet, and we're going to turn the autopilot on and see how that works, and then we're going to make it a landing down at a nearby airport where we're going to have a bit of a crosswind. So we're going to see how she actually lands, and then we're going to do a more of a crosswind takeoff, and then we're going to do some emergencies and really put the 150 through its paces.
Careful, I'm a lion, don't test my pride. Standing like a mountain, looking the devil right in his eyes. Know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't.
Now, before we land at a 17S Shallanum Airpark, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, I wanted to give you a quick look at the inside of the cockpit on some more angles there. Obviously, this is a 50-year-old aircraft, and the texturing work has been done to model that, and they've done an absolutely fantastic job. Looks good. Obviously, all the gauges have the reflections. One of the cool things is it's sort of got persistence in there. It has, it can save up to 50 different settings or preferences, so when you finish your flight and then you start up the flight, all the panel save state is there, which is really cool. Everything on the panel is selectable and it works. All the circuit breakers are modeled and they do work as well. You can select to have a female co-pilot or a male co-pilot, and vice versa for a pilot as well. But all in all, in my opinion, the vFlyteAir have done a fantastic job of the cockpit of the 150.
I'm a freak, I'm an outcast, I'm a shadow. I stand with the lost souls, looking for a hustle. Got a pulse on the streets.
Welcome back to the cockpit. We are just turning on a final for a 17 Sierra, or actually doing a bad job of that. We joined the circuit at a 45-degree angle of the downwind, and now we're just lining up. So there is a slight crosswind, so we're going to see how the 150 handles that. So we're going to try to use less inputs into the yoke and use our rudders and see how we go. So we're just going to crab, just a slight crab there, very minimal, but we'll just see how we go. So I'm going to be quiet now so we can enjoy the landing into 17 Sierra, and we'll see how we go on the crosswind landing. Wow, in my opinion that was a very believable. On the rotation and the flare, everything felt okay. I used a little bit too much rudder, that's why I veered right. I think that was more my rudder pedals, but very believable for an aircraft in a sim. They've done a good job. So we're going to backtrack, we're going to turn around here, and we're going to take off and see how she handles on the takeoff. There we go, that's what I was trying to find. They said they've modelled shake in this aircraft and they've done it really well. So that shake was coming because as we were going down the runway I was using a lot of right rudder pressure, and that does happen in a real aircraft. So when you're gaining speed and when you're taking off, you can feel the back tail section shuddering around, or the rudder shuddering around, because you're applying that right rudder. That felt really realistic, so well done. So that was a crosswind landing and takeoff. We're going to jump into a quick stall and see how she goes there, and then we're going to fly back to our home base and do a emergency glide approach into that runway too. That was absolutely a lot of fun. Obviously I exaggerated the stall, but you could see the aircraft was shuttering, the air horn come up the right time, and this thing is, I tell you what, is hard to stall, but we recovered the aircraft. We could have recovered it a lot easier than that, but it seems to behave like a Cessna should do in a stall. So now time to fly back to our home airport and let's do an emergency glide approach. Really looking forward to this one.
When the monster crawls out of the sea, you're gonna need somebody like me. When your brother's got blood in the streets, you better call somebody like me. I was made in the shadows, where the light ain't allowed to go. When the line gets a little blurry, you're gonna need somebody like me.
Welcome back. We are on our downwind leg at the airport we took off from, which is 7 Sierra 3, which is Starks Oaks Twin Airport. And what we're going to do, we're going to make this nice and easy for this glide approach, is as we beam the numbers onto our landing runway, I'll pull back on the throttles and we'll basically do a glide approach in. And obviously once we know we think we're making the runway, we'll put the first notch flaps down, which is going to be 10%, and then we'll put full flaps down, and then we'll come in with a landing, and hopefully everybody walks away safely. As we look on the left window there, we're getting pretty close. We're pretty much a beam on the numbers. There we go. So we'll pull back on the throttle. We're going to make a turn into the runway because obviously we want to glide in and make the runway. And we're going to trim for 70 knots. And once we think we've made the runway, we'll put the first notch of flaps in, and then we'll do 30. The hard thing is to do this on the sim is because I'm not looking out the left window, so I'm sort of, you know, winging it, pardon the pun, to where I think the runway would be. So first notch of flaps in, I think I'm getting pretty close. Oh yeah, we're definitely making the airport down, so we're going to go full flaps. This is going to get really sporty. So from this height, we're going to overshoot the runway. We're going to try to slip it in. So I'm going to be quiet now. Enjoy, and good luck to all of us. Well, that was a really cool. To make things interesting, we had a crosswind. Even though that whole process was messy, it was really cool to see how much the flaps slow the aircraft down. And that's what always amazes me when you do these things in real life, is you think, oh no, we're totally going to miss the airport. But once you pull the flaps down, these things slow down massively, and you can have a really steep approach, which is a lot of fun. So we're going to take a quick look at the replay, and we're going to come back to you and answer the question: is the vFlyteAir Commuter 150 worth value for money?
When the monster crawls out of the sea, you're gonna need somebody like me. When your brother's got blood in the streets, you better call somebody like me. I was made in the shadows, where the light ain't allowed to go. When the line gets a little blurry, you're gonna need somebody like me. Through the smoke, through the fog, through the boneyards, when your white knight's in his grave, I'm your last call. 'Cause you're about to walk through places they don't know you. If they don't know you, it ain't safe, y'all. Yeah, well, I can see what's headed for you down that road. And soon it's coming to take everything you know. Yeah, when that monster crawls out of the sea.
So you can pick the Cessna 150 Commuter from vFlyteAir over at the X-Plane Org store for $28.95. I think it worked out to be around about $44.95 Australian for my Australian friends out there. Once I purchased it, I thought, oh, that's a little bit pricey, but it did have a lot of features that I wanted to check out, and I would tell you what, this is one of the most exciting GA aircraft that I've flown for a long time. I really enjoy it. Yes, it's only a two-seater, it goes slow, but this is probably the best add-on that I think a vFlyteAir have made for a long time. I was a big fan of their Cherokee 140. This tops that, and I definitely think it's value for money. If you're a GA fan and you're flying an X-Plane, go and pick this up. This is not sponsored. I really enjoy this aircraft and I would highly recommend that. So with been saying that, please leave a comment below if you liked how I edited this video. I tried to put some more realistic flying in. If you like this sort of style, let me know. If not, we'll go back to the other one. Please subscribe to the channel for new content if you're new. Hit that thumbs up button if you like the video, and I will leave some other videos up here of my favorites. Why don't you go check them out and we can go for another flight together.